Don't give up. Those are the second, three most important words in the world. Don't give up. The difficult things for us to do are those things that we can't do. The easy things are those that we can do and don't even think about, like breathing, getting up and down out of chairs, walking. Most people don't even have to think about them. But there are some of us, as we well know, who have trouble doing even the simplest things. That's when all of a sudden you begin to pay attention to just how much your body can hold you down. We have a progression here of some nice, simple exercise. This is how to get out of a chair, starting from the simplest right on up, so that anybody at all who has trouble getting out of a chair, just watch as we go through and find what you can do and work your way along. This is Tut, better known to us as King Tut. We just renamed him. He got the nickname Tut when he was young, and we'll never let him live it down, not quietly anyway. This is the beginning of getting your thighs strong enough so that you can get up and down out of chairs. If you're very weak and just can't get up at all without using your arms, this is the way to start. If you just slowly raise and lower yourself and have a pillow under your knees. If you have trouble with your knees, be very careful. If you have any problems at all, you know that you should see a doctor first and then, move into anything that you can comfortably.
It stretches the insteps too.
It does. And this is another reason why you need to use a pillow. It does stretch your insteps, and if it's difficult for you to stretch your foot back, this will lift your knees enough so that you can do it. I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a very important point. Very important. If you need to, you can use two pillows under your knees, but just get it some way so that you can come up and down and use your thighs. And Nancy has the one that we really need to pay attention to, because this is the next step along the way, and it involves quite a bit. If you use two pillows, once you do start trying to get out of a chair without using your arms, we made it so easy for you. But now you see, Nancy did something that she doesn't need to do, and she knows it already. She put her hands on her thighs. The trick is never to use your arms in any way, only your legs. If you use two pillows, this raises you up so far that you can just almost lift up. But watch the difference now. Move a little bit more forward, as far forward as you can in the chair. Now put your feet back under, and with your arms, throw yourself up. And, that's why we put the chair here, so that throwing herself forward, if she felt like she was losing her balance, she'd have something to hold on to. So use a wall in front of you. Put your chair where it's comfortable so you won't pitch forward onto the floor. We wouldn't like that to happen. You're not supposed to do things like that. Always have a wall or something in front of you so it'll work. And, were you telling us about your grandmother?
Oh, my mother.
Your mother.
My mother, she, getting out of a divan.
Yeah.
A deep one. She couldn't make it just by trying to pull herself out, so she just reared back and threw her legs in the air and rolled forward, and she came right out.
That's really beautiful. I like people that do things like that. Jerry's grandmother, when she was 102 or something, would not anybody move a chair for her. She would pick up a chair and move it from room to room, and she carried the same chair. That was her chair. And I think it's part of what kept her alive. She wouldn't let anybody at all do anything for her. But this that he just said is another good thing to add on to this. Lean back a little and pick your feet up and bring your hands, your arms, and your feet forward. And that gives you even more momentum so you can come forward even better. Good?
Yeah, very good.
And Coretta, you've seen Coretta before. Coretta, are you there? This is the next step, where you have just one cushion, and again, you don't use your arms. You keep your feet back under the chair if you can, and throw yourself forward with your arms. Try to throw yourself out a little. As you get better, then you sit back further. Try sitting way back in the chair now, and now come up without using your arms. That's the way. But always try to keep your feet back a little, and that makes it easier. Is that easier? Or the feet being back just gives you a better, it puts you in a better position to use your thighs. That's good. And this is The queen tut. This is Esther. Esther's a race walker, by the way. We're going to tell you more about that in a while. This is the next step. Esther, that looks so easy for you. And that's what comes of being a race walker. Does that feel like you're doing anything at all?
Nothing.
No effort. This is the way everybody should be. All you have to do is go out and walk 5 miles a day. But you can see Esther's sitting pretty far back on the chair. If you're just beginning, if you've just worked up to this point, then you sit on the edge. Move forward onto the edge and come up that way. And now move all the way back. You slowly, as you go along, move your way back. Gee, you're quiet. And Lisa's, that's the right way. That's the way I told her to start out. That's good, Lisa. When you're first beginning to build up to this step, and this is the step I really wanted to get you to because this is going to get you sitting down on the floor. She's just going down a little way, very enthusiastically. And then you get holding on to the chair so you can go all the way down. Come all the way down, Lisa. All the way. And back up again. Hey, you've all stopped. Do your exercises. And all the way down and up. That's the way. And this is the next step to get your thighs good and strong so that you can then do what he isn't doing. Here he goes. This is John. This was Lisa here. John over here, and he is doing the one thing I think everybody should do. This is very, very important, the business of using the floor as a seat. You use all of your legs from here right on up to your waistline. And this is the final step in sitting, and this is by far the best way to sit. Use more this way than any other way. How do your feet feel?
Be careful of the ankles, Maggie. There's a real push on it. The transition from that stage to this, perhaps there should be an interim phase for the ankles. There's a tremendous strain on them.
The interim phase started way back there, because once you get that pillow out from underneath your knees, then you're really stretching your foot back this way.
There has to be, evidently, right. If you start off with a difficult exercise to begin with, you say, gee, it hurts a little, but if you build up to it gradually, this must be the secret.
You see, if you had been running in front of the TV like I've been telling you, your feet would be so flexible it wouldn't bother you at all.
I can't get away with anything today.
Try it again.
Is it best to hold your arms out for balance? Can you actually do it without holding your arms out?
The best thing to do is when you come down, if you can, just hold them out here just for balance. But if you need to, you can throw yourself forward to use them for leverage, for momentum too, to carry you forward. It helps. Once you've gotten used to it, you don't have the problem, and you can go right into it. It doesn't bother you at all. Okay, how about moving the chairs back over here? They talk about the best seat in the house. People go to a lot of trouble to measure, to see how deep the seat should be and how tall it should be. But the best seat in the house is really right here. If you get yourself into good condition by always sitting down on the floor and coming up, you're going to have the most comfortable seat you could possibly have, and it'll also look a lot better than any of those other seats. It's very important to get your bottom into good condition. Very important. Everybody runs. Aren't they wonderful? Okay, the next thing that I want to show you is this is something that really is just beautiful. Posture. If you just stand the way you should, if you move the way you should, then you automatically are going to be using your body in the right way. Start walking around.
You said to stand the way you should, excuse me.
Yes.
There is a proper way to stand. I find myself slouching, and it feels very comfortable.
Thing. Posture is a very individual
How
thing.
do you get your shoulders to stay back?
Well, let me show you the few basic things, and then within anybody's individual body, these things will all come out looking a little different. Tighten your bottom. Undo your knees a little bit. For race walking, you do them, but otherwise you loosen them up just a tiny bit and start walking around. Tighten up your abdominal muscles. Keep your bottom tight. Lift your chest and lift your chin. And if you breathe deeply at the same time, then you'll be getting a lot of, respiration, the build-up of respiration, too. But you should remember the whole time to keep your belly tight and your bottom tight and your chest up.
This is how you girls get whistled at, is that right?
Right.
You practice since you're little to walk like this?
You certainly should. If you don't, something's dreadfully wrong.
Yes.
But good posture, though, will use an awful lot of your muscles in all the right ways. So if you just practice good posture all the time, you're going to be way ahead of the game. Try running a little. Keep the same Tight belly, tight bottom,
Can't do it.
chin up so you can breathe easily. Okay, that was just a little thing for the in-between, just because for posture, yeah, warm up. The posture really is very important. We'll go back to that again in just a few minutes. First, I want to show you something else. Come down onto the floor. And swing over onto one side and over onto the other.
Bend your knees, Maggie.
Well, it's very difficult to do it otherwise for what we're going to be doing, adding on to it. These are just, simple movements, and then we'll start putting them together. So you just swing from side to side this way. Anybody feel anything?
Abdominals.
Really?
Yeah.
If your abdominals are in use all the time, then you won't feel that. At least I don't feel it right now. But if you haven't been using them, then you will feel them very strongly then. It's important, if you are weak in any part, not to go at it too heavily, just to do a little bit at a time. Because in the beginning you will tire very easily. And it's very important to be successful the first few times you exercise. So just do a few things and do them right. And come out of it feeling wonderful. Next time do a few more so that, it just gets a little bit harder all the time. And also, come over to the side and pull up. If you've lost the use of some muscles, you may have to start with very simple movements all over again until you can build up again to doing the more difficult things. Up again.
Can you start using two hands?
I didn't hear.
Can you start using two hands?
You can start using two hands, yes.
My neck's cracking.
Your knees are cracking?
Neck.
Your neck, really?
How's that
I
happen?
have all kinds of calcification.
Yeah, that's true. And you said that you had a little arthritis in your wrist anyway, didn't you? You might very well have a little in the cervical, but in your neck. That's what they call the cervical region, from here to here.
I have it all the way down.
And quite often you'll get arthritis there as you go along. Okay, up and over, down, shift around to the other side. Can you do this one, Lisa?
I don't know, 'cause
Up.
I'm tired.
And over. You're tired? Get your daddy to show you. That's the way. Good girl. Over.
Maggie, get a hot bottom doing this.
Yeah, friction. One of the things, this business of, if you've lost the use of a muscle and then come back to using it, you find quite often that people who have gotten some kind of a disease will then get to the point where they take much better care of themselves and end up in better general health than other people are just from the fact that they've gotten that disease.
That's about what it takes in America sometimes.
That's the truth.
To get
Not
people
just
moving.
in America,
People-
everywhere.
People just don't want to see them move.
Yeah.
There's a car sitting out there, take the car.
It's the
There's an
truth.
elevator, take the elevator.
It's really a shame.
You need a new education process.
Another important thing. Are you having any trouble moving at all?
Not really, no.
Are you?
No.
Quite often, men's pants especially, if they try to really move, will cut in at the knees or at the groin so that they can't fold up completely. Can you pull your knees right up against your chest?
As close as I can get them.
Is your pants stopping you, or aren't you flexible enough?
Probably not flexible enough. My pants stretch a bit anyway.
Yeah,
I think
that's good. Stretch clothes are much better. You really should have clothes always that move very easily with you. Okay, let's try something a little bit different. This one is, again, a simple movement that we'll sooner or later we'll add them all together. Stretch out. Give yourself lots of room. Arms way overhead. Bring your feet up and way over and down, and arms way up and over and down, legs up. Remember, if your back comes up off the floor, bend your knees to bring them up. If your back comes up here, bring your knees up and bring them over this way.
should your toes touch the floor coming back?
Say that again?
Should your toes touch the floor coming back?
Oh, yeah,
This
if you
way.
can get them to. They should. Okay,
That stresses about everything. when you do
Loretta,
that.
did you get down all the way?
I don't
No, not all the way. It takes time. If you're not used to doing flexibility
that
things, then it doesn't always work. Let's see. Try. Try it
You
again.
do extremely well.
Way up over.
Extremely well.
Legs first and then come up with your arms. Let's see how well you do it. Bring your legs up.
Oh, she puts her arms over like
You can't get your legs over, really? Did you try? And they won't come over? How about coming down this way? How about if you bring your knees up first and then push down with your arms and come over? Try that. Bring your knees up against your chest and put your arms down on the floor. And now lie down and put your hands on the floor and your knees up to your chest. All the way up on your chest. And now push with your hands and push yourself over.
I can't.
You didn't do it yet. We'll get you there. But look at that. Look at that. She's
Little more
putting her
ass.
down. That's
Little more.
great.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful.
It takes good balance, Maggie. Besides the physical strength, it takes good balance to get yourself back there. I almost got stuck.
It's just that it's an unusual position. Always with things like that and back bends, the position that people aren't used to being in, they'll think is, kind of terrifying the first few times. But if you keep trying, pretty soon it's easy. Make sure you have a good soft rug under you, and after a while it won't scare you. One of the important things about exercising like this is not to grab hold of your arms, is not to discourage people from moving. From the time babies, before they're born, they're moving, both when they're awake and when they're sleeping. Roll back. And if you just don't discourage them after they're born, then they're bound to keep moving. Almost all children will. Some move a little less. You can encourage them to move a little bit more. Also, if you let them find out by trial and error, they tend to learn a lot more and a lot more quickly. That, by the way, is really true. That's one of the fastest ways to learn. You give them an example, show them, don't do it for them. It's important not to do things for them. Show them how and let them do it. You learn as much from doing things the wrong way because you learn what not to do as you do by doing them the right way. So don't, give them a good example and then leave them to it. Let them, it won't hurt them to get, well, it'll hurt them, might hurt a little bit. Just don't let them hurt themselves too badly doing it. And
How far back do you go?
what?
How far back?
How far back? All the way back.
All the way back.
Can you go all the way?
Oops. I hit my face with my knees. Yeah.
Almost does the work of a rolling
How
pin.
far back can you go?
Kid.
How far back do you want me to go?
That's good.
Way up. So you're
Way up?
way up on the back of your head.
I think I...
Okay? Good. That's great, Nancy. She went all the way over.
Did you go over?
That's beautiful,
How's
almost.
your neck?
It's really, from the point you were, you could have gone all the way over very easily.
I think I will. No.
Oh, go
Try
ahead.
it, try it.
wait.
All you have to do is turn your head a little bit to
daring.
the side and you go right over.
Esther can do it.
Really.
Oh, yeah.
How about you,
not
Coretta? Can you
balled
do
up,
that one?
No, not balled up like this.
Good. That's great.
So I go
I'll
the
bet
other way?
from that position, when you have your legs way up, you could just put them right back onto the floor. That's all it takes. If you can get that far, all you do is just stretch your legs out and they touch. How'd you do on that one?
Well, I hurt my neck a little bit. But
Hurt
I
your
can
neck?
go back this way.
You probably
without
could
this
stand
way.
some neck exercises. That would help you a
I'm
lot.
sure.
How about you, Lisa?
What?
Can you do this one? Roll.
I'll try because I can't really go back.
Can't you?
I just have to
Roll
push
hard.
myself.
Roll hard.
Lisa's losing a
That's
front tooth, and she actually knocked her front tooth with the knee.
Really?
It's almost
Good.
falling out.
That's great. Is it loose?
Yes, it is loose, and she went back, and boom.
We might have it. You might have it all ready to put under your pillow tonight, huh? How about you, John? How's it going? Good.
Difficult on the neck, though, Maggie.
That's
it
right.
really is.
I remember. You're very flexible.
Well,
Put your whole
You
weight
are.
on
That's
your knees.
good. What?
You put your whole
there's
weight on your
there's a
neck.
tremendous strain. Evidently, you don't use your neck, and
Oh, we're going to do
you. It just hits.
some things that'll really loosen up
It
your.
won't break, will it?
No, they won't break. Just be gentle with it. You always can tell
scares you.
best
It
what's
does.
wrong with you,
Hurts.
and that's why you always, when you feel something that doesn't feel like it should be feeling quite that way, be careful with it. Work slowly with it. If it really feels like there's something seriously wrong, then you go see a doctor. But just plain old getting stiff, you don't need a doctor for. All you need is more exercise. So everybody knows that by now. We tell you all the time. Okay.
But for
Now,
I hope they're listening. Somebody's
Yeah, I hope
exercises
they're
like
listening.
these, you need an awful lot of padding.
you
Yeah,
need a rug under
yeah,
you. You
because
really do.
Your backbone just...
Have to buy the most
Thing that
expensive
touches-
rug now.
It's really important. Well, all you have to do is really, if your floor is nice and clean, fold up a blanket or a few towels and put them on the floor, and then you've got something soft enough that you can
yeah.
roll easily on.
It helps.
It really
It's nice
does
to get
help.
started off. The first time you do it, you feel so comfortable, and you say, gee, I'll do that again. You feel encouraged.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that's the
it
truth.
hurts
And
you. You
besides,
don't wanna try it again.
another thing that I think helps is if your room is a little bit warm. It really does help warm you up a little bit if you start off comfortably warm. If it isn't, then wear very loose things that are very warm. And, another thing, talking about kids, I really think roll a little bit more, that it's important to have grandmothers around. If you've got a good active grandmother who still knits or walks or, likes to talk to children or read to them, do things with them, they learn a lot by example. And the mother isn't always inclined to spend the time patiently, where a grandmother will have lots of time to be patient. They're really very, very good to have around. I know. I make good use of my mother. Okay. How you doing?
Pretty good.
You
You
sure?
know where I feel it? Bone, right up here.
Yeah, all right.
Isn't
Right
that
in the
funny?
neck.
Everybody's getting it in the back of the neck.
Right here.
It's like
Right
a bump.
down here.
It's like
You're
a
in
yeah.
too good condition, Maggie, to perhaps realize this.
Well, the thing is, I've gone through all the exercises all along the way so that I won't. And I'll just have to make sure I give you all the things that I've that I've done myself. Okay, let's try these things. And in fact, one of the things that I wanted to show you, the next step of the same exercise, is coming up and down. Because we're going to put these three together in a minute.
Oh, all those
And
creaks.
again,
That's me.
you know that you always have to judge for yourself what's best for you. You need the help of a doctor, too, if you run into any real problems. But the major thing is to see to it that you feel along the way. That's why it's also good when you're exercising to close your eyes and feel, so really get the feeling of what's going on inside. You'll hear creaks. Really, you hear fantastic gurglings.
You know you're alive. You realize, I'm there. It's me.
It's the truth. You really do feel it. It's a fantastically beautiful machine. You have the waterworks and the electrical system. You've got everything going all at once. And the more you make them work, the more efficient they become. This is the one machine that doesn't wear out with use. Well, sooner or later, maybe. But the more you work with it, the better condition it stays. And it really makes a big difference. Come down onto the floor. And we'll try all three of these now, only in a different way. This is putting them together in a nice way. Coretta, you're going to have trouble with this, but try it anyway. Grab your knees like this if you need to. And then start rolling. If you really keep yourself in good condition, and I'm sure that Queen Tut will agree with me, if you keep it in really good condition, you feel like you're about 18 your entire life. How do you feel? How old do you feel most of the time? Yeah, right. It's amazing. I don't know why everybody seems to pick age 18, but when you ask people in good condition how they feel, it's almost always the...
No, I didn't feel this good when I was 18.
I didn't either.
No.
I didn't either. That again is a strange thing. I don't think you get smart enough to take good care of yourself until you're older. A few people will go into sports and they're pretty good. But most of us get discouraged because there are so many people who are better than us at sports. I was horrible when I was a kid. I was sick all the time. But now I still can't do any sports. All I can do is exercise. This is the beginning. From here you go out and do all the other things. I haven't got time, but you have. Okay, let's try this again. Roll. And now roll and bring your feet way back over your head. And now come up and onto your feet. You knew I was going to do that, didn't you? And down and roll
Lord.
back and up and onto your feet. Down and roll back and up and onto your feet. Down and roll back and up and onto your feet. Down and back and up.
Whoops.
Down and back and up. Anybody having trouble getting up? Yes, somebody's having
yeah.
I forgot to cross my legs.
What a recovery.
I always want to sit down.
Let's try it a few more times. That's really very good for your legs. And you can see we've combined the three exercises together to get everything all worked in together. Try it again. Coretta, we're going to have to give you some
I'm
special things
crossing
to
my
get
legs.
all the way over. What'd you say?
You are crossing your legs.
You can do it either way.
Oh, you did.
I'd rather cross. I can't come up the other way.
Another way to try it that's kind of fun, try just this end part of it. Cross your feet and just come up onto them this way and down.
I don't go down
Harder
lightly.
than it looks, isn't it? Come forward and balance yourself forward. Use your arms to balance yourself, pull yourself forward.
Doesn't hurt your ankle?
No. I've been
feel it.
working long enough that I've got my
Let's
ankles
show
nice
off.
and flexible, so it really works. You know, that's why the foot exercises are important. They do get your ankles nice and flexible. The running is wonderful for you. It's really great. That makes your feet flexible, I think, faster than anything else at all.
Trying to do these kind of exercises.
You know, exercising is sort of, you know, for older people, they've already learned a lot of movements, and it's sort of like a recipe, you guess, so you can put things together, and because you're so expert at different ways of putting things together, you can make a beautiful, you know, a beautiful thing. I hate to say cake. A beautiful thing every time, but with children, these are probably unfamiliar ingredients that they haven't, or if they're familiar ingredients, they haven't worked with them so often. So it takes a little bit more time. But always the children can learn, and the more experience you give them, the more varied their experience, the more they're going to be able to learn to do with it. It's really important to open everything up to them, really encourage them in every way you can.
Right, Lisa?
Try this one with your feet apart. And lean back a little and forward and come up onto your feet.
No, not with tight pants.
Put your feet together and your knees apart. And now lean back
Like
so you roll forward up onto your feet. I'll tell you what, you teach me walk racing and I'll teach you this.
It's going to take a lot longer to learn.
I'm not sure.
So we separate the big kids from the little kids.
No, the
That's too
flexible
much.
kids from the kids that aren't flexible. Flexibility you can learn, really. The flexibility is easy. I think.
German pro.
It's amazing. People start who think they've never been able to touch their toes or anything, and it's amazing. You guess that you can do absolutely anything at all, almost. You know, to some extent. Come up onto your feet.
Oh, we're going to stand up.
Again, let's try the walking and start off. You know, just walking. Why don't you show us the form for the race walking? That's a good idea because this is something that's a little bit different. It's not like ordinary walking. You really have to push your knee back and let your pelvis tilt from side to side. Let's follow the leader.
I hope
Okay, you're the second leader.
You want us to try that, Maggie?
Yeah,
No. I'll have
really
to
lock
follow
your knee
somebody.
back. This is an entirely different thing because ordinarily I don't tell people to lock their knees back, but this forces you to tighten your bottom up.
This is more difficult in a circle.
What are you talking about?
Always
like
going
you're doing
around
it
the
on the
street
street.
makes
No, you
it more
can't
difficult.
you do any speed. And
Try doing the same thing and patting your head and rubbing your stomach.
Here we go.
Combinations. Mix them all up together.
Why is it that's so difficult?
Okay, run a little. He's still patting his head and rubbing his stomach. Let's try some finger exercises.
I can't do it. There's two motor mechanisms that just don't
Isn't that difficult?
jive. Yes.
Remember, you really do have a beautiful machine. Everybody does. And you've got everything it takes to make it more beautiful. Use it. Good for you. Ciao.